Welcome back, 17s, to the Atlanta Soccer Celebration right here from Emory Healthcare Studio. We now know that these are the possible nations to square off against each other here in Atlanta Stadium. So all you 17s at home, remember this acronym HAC, H-A-C and K. Those are the possible groups that we could see here in the 404. Now, FIFA is set to announce the exact matchups and broadcast times tomorrow, December 6th at noon Eastern. However, we now know those potential nations coming to ATL. So, Jonathan, it's time now for you and me as we take a look one more time at the curveball. We're going to go through our top picks here of all these four groups. We'll go with our top three of who we'd most like to see at Atlanta Stadium. I'll let you kick it off with that pick number one.
Yeah, don't roll your eyes at me, Joe, but I'm going to start with Brazil. And the reason being, they've got so many good players. Every time it comes to a World Cup, they show up. I think they have to be a favorite, and they've got, in my opinion, one of the best managers in the world, in Carlo Ancelotti. So I think they're going to be one of the favorites this year. And they just play an exciting, fun style of football. So really looking forward to seeing them, hopefully, here in Atlanta.
Absolutely. Of course, the five-time World Cup champions as well. That's the most of any nation in history. I'll kick it to my first right here. Again, this is not a sleeper pick by any means. It's that sweet left boot of Lamine Yamal. We're going to go with Spain there as number one. I would love to see his quality come to the 404. It's just that sweet drop of the shoulder, the way he can whip it into upper 90. I think seeing one of the top youngsters in the world and, of course, the number one ranked side in the world in that FIFA ranking come here to the 404 could be something very special. All right, Jonathan, serve us up. Pick number two.
Yeah, Lamal, fantastic young player. I'm going to go a little bit older generation. I'm going to pick Portugal. I would love to see Cristiano Ronaldo here, and we're going to see him here, certainly in the Benz in a game against the United States. As they prepare for the World Cup. So we'd love to see Cristiano Ronaldo in an actual World Cup game here at the Benz.
It would be very fascinating for the GOAT debate as well. I'm just putting that out there. I'm not saying anything right now, 17s, but should Cristiano do something special here, that would be fascinating to witness. I'm going to kick it to my number two here and go with Morocco. Now, I know there's a lot of favorites in our production team of people who love this nation as well. Of course, they made it all the way to that semifinal in the last World Cup. They beat Portugal in the quarterfinals in 2022 as well. Of course, you've got Hakimi at that right back. So much talent for what they have done in some of the other youth categories of the World Cup as well. I expect them to be in flying form and continue to hold that up. So to be able to see that here in the South will be something very special as well. All right, let's kick it. That final third pick for you. Who've you got?
Yep, last pick for me, a little bit of a sleeper pick, but I'm going to go with Uzbekistan. So this would be their golden generation, if you will, of footballers. A lot of them are playing domestically in their league. Wow. Some are now, moving on to Europe with the success of one player in particular who's at Roma on loan to a club in Turkey now, Eldar Shomurodov. He's their center forward. He's been scoring a lot of goals for them, both for club team and for country. And so I'm excited to see a team like Uzbekistan, who's not known to be a world powerhouse, compete against some of the best teams in the world.
That's why we bring you in, Specs, for the Uzbekistan ball knowledge right there. That's unbelievable. All right, I'm going to kick it for my third one here. I'm going to go with Colombia. Prende la radio. I think this is going to be a side that you see James Rodriguez. While he is still clubless, he's a guy who, he had so much legacy coming into this World Cup. He was the prince. We remember those goals of those chested volleys back in 2014. I think there's a lot of pressure on that country. Of course, a lot of youngsters in Premier League quality coming up through their side as well, so don't sleep on Colombia. That's going to be my third here, and that is our top picks here between Jonathan and myself with some of these potential sides you guys could see right here in the backyard at the 404. We're going to step aside for another quick break. When we come back, we're going to touch on what federation might be calling Atlanta home as their base camp. Coming up right after this. Welcome back, 17s, to the Atlanta Soccer Celebration here live from Emory Healthcare Studio. Now, there's still a couple of five stripes with a chance to punch their ticket to the World Cup next year. They'll have to get through one another to make it to the world's biggest stage. We've got Albania that's set to take on Poland in late March, competing for the remaining 4 UEFA spots at Warsaw's National Stadium right there in Bartosz Slisz's backyard. So the winner between Slisz and Mihai will then have to face the winner of Sweden and Ukraine to one more set of 90 minutes to stamp their spot in the 2026 World Cup. So Specs, these are two guys that you know very well. Of course, scouting them heavily before they came here to bring them to Atlanta United. You've got Mihai in that back line for Albania, so much composure and captain-like traits from him, as well as Bartosz Slisz, not just that leadership, but how box-to-box he is, his constant work rate. We like to call him the Polish pit bull as well. How do these two match up against each other on the international stage?
Yeah, well, thanks for not making me pick a winner in this one. But yeah, you touched on it. I think with Mihaj, he's got those leadership qualities. And the thing that really stood out to us as a club was how much pride he takes in defending. He hates to see goals go in. He takes a ton of pride in his defending. His work ethic is fantastic, and he's got those leadership qualities. And then with Bartosz Slis, what sticks out to me about him is really that work rate. He does so much of the off-the-ball work that allows the creative players to go and do their thing. He's a little bit of an unsung hero in there in the middle of midfield, and we're happy to have both those players at the club here.
Absolutely. Does a lot of the dirty work, doesn't get a lot of credit for it, but it's certainly necessary as well. We've got Miguel Almirón back at the World Cup stage for his first ever World Cup, first for Paraguay since 2010. You've got Mihaj, Bartosz competing in there as well. What does that say about the group that this club's got in the locker room?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it speaks to not only the growth of soccer in this country and the growth of the MLS as a whole, but really in the allure of Atlanta United in particular to be able to attract some of these players that have the ability to play at some of the top European leagues in the world.
Absolutely, Specs. We'll step aside one more time. When we return, we're going to hear from one of the voices of Atlanta United, Mike Conti, as well as legendary former five-stripe Brad Guzan there in Buckhead at Fido after this. Welcome back live from the Emory Healthcare Studio. That's Jonathan Spector. I'm Joe Freihofer, and this is your Atlanta Soccer Celebration. Now, people around the world, the millions of soccer fans are getting ready for the biggest World Cup in the competition's history. But we want to see how the people here in ATL are starting to live it as we head on over to Buckhead with one of the voices of Atlanta United. We've got Mike Conti alongside five-stripe legend Brad Guzan. Let's check in with those two over in Buckhead. All right, Mike, Brad, thank you so much. So, Specs, as we take a look one more time, here's those final 12 full groups of the biggest World Cup in the history of this competition. I'm not going to ask you how much you miss playing as we take a look at this full big stage. I think I know the answer to that. But what I will say, you and I talked about it in the lead up to the show, just how important these World Cups are for the youngsters that are out there. You said that 94 World Cup for you was instrumental. If we think about your two young boys who are playing right now, and of course they've got that Spector jersey on their wall as well, and we look at what this could mean to that next generation, what's it like to know that that impact that you had in 94 is going to happen in our backyard in ATL?
Yeah, this is really a full circle moment for me. The 94 World Cup, as you said, that was pivotal in me really falling in love with the game of soccer. And so now to be able to experience that with my kids and to share that with them, it's something that's really, really special. And to be able to do it at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium as well, I'm really looking forward to that.
188 days to go, and then we'll see all of you guys at Atlanta Stadium. This has been the Atlanta Soccer Celebration. That's Jonathan Spector. I'm Joe Freihofer. I want to say thank you so much, 17s, for joining us here live from Emory Healthcare Studio. We'll see you next summer in June from Atlanta Stadium.